speak up? Is it up? Oh, it is. It is up there. All right. Let me stand over on this side. Um, so this isn't really a developer technique. This is just a quick thing I want to show you that's really handy for sites, for site editors, especially for sites that have a lot of content and a lot of people who are editing that content. It's often very difficult to keep all the content on your site fresh and know like when the last, when things need to be updated, who's updating them, and that sort of thing. So this is again, there's really not a lot of technical complication to this, other than for the last thing. But I'm just going to show you sort of 4 quick steps to keep a site refreshed and up to date. The first thing is that it's really handy to just have a field on each channel that is just for internal notes. You throw that field onto any type of channel, and then people can put a note in there about why they changed something, when they last did something. I always call it internal notes, and I always make sure that people understand that like this is never going to be published anyway. This is just internal to the system, but it's super handy to be able to track more detail than just what you see in the revisions log. So internal notes, super handy. The second thing is it's really handy to have a review date on your content. So when does this content need to be reviewed? And you can just create a date field, and then that date field is going to show, you can easily, from the channel entries, you can sort by like what needs to be reviewed. Is there anything that's past due? Is there anything that doesn't have a review date? Chances are it's never been reviewed. So again, super easy field to add to all sorts of content, whether it's a page, whether it's a part, whether it's like someone's staff page, etc. So that's the review date. The third one is who. In this case, it's reviewer email, but basically, who is in charge of this page, and when did we last tell them that we needed this page to be updated? So in this case, I'm using email addresses, but you could just have a field that's like, who reviews this stuff, and then send out a note to them to remind them that it needs to be touched. You just add here that like, yeah, I just emailed that person and it needs to be reviewed. And so um, the review date is kind of more helpful because that allows you to actually look up when something needs to be reviewed. But the next step up from that is, and then what did I do about that? Or who should be doing something about that? I don't often make this a member field because oftentimes you want to have multiple people who are associated with a piece of content, or you might want to put like words in here, or you might want to put somebody who's not in Expression Engine as like the person responsible for it might not have an account, but they are nevertheless the person who ought to review that. So the combination of those 4 fields go together really well in just a metadata field group, and then you can throw that field group onto any channel that would be the kind of channel that needs updating. And so like once you have those 4 fields, you throw it on. The other thing is a quick, what's the opposite of a shout out? A beg out to the folks at Packetide. Expression Engine 2 used to have a little button here that lets you edit the layout. I want that back so bad. And so I coded it in myself kind of ugly. But if you, it's really handy to be able to edit the layout and then put those fields in a place where people are going to see them prominently when they're modifying content. So you can, as I update this page, I change the review date, but it's over on this page where, I forgot how slow it is here. It's over on the other page where you can modify the notes and who's in charge of it and that sort of thing. That doesn't need to be on the main content page. The last thing, I'm almost hesitant to show you because it's so janky. This is a page that uses all that information and creates a list of all the pages that need updating, who's supposed to update them and when, and has them in a certain order. So you can see, and this number isn't accurate, you can see that this site has 118 items that have reminders that need to be sent based on this like bizarre assortment of filters. But essentially, I can say that I want to remind these people here that they need to update their that content, and it's going to send them a reminder that is customized by the type of content, where it says this type of content needs this sort of stuff to be looked at. And then when it does that, it also updates the last emailed field to say that it was emailed at that moment. So like in 3 seconds here, I've just annoyed 3 people to go and update their profile or whatnot. As I say, this part is I'm still like just a project in my head that's kind of like a third of the way to being done. But once you have those fields in place, it becomes very easy to automate or integrate with some other method of keeping track of and knowing. Like you can do a report on what sections of the site have the most pages that need to be updated, or you could create something here that lets you group content according to its URL and say, these URLs all fall under a particular part of the site, and so I'm going to send all those reminders at the same time. Or there's a lot of places you can go with that. So anyways, just wanted to share that as something that developers often don't think about. They think about the workflow of doing the content, but they don't necessarily think about the workflow of maintaining the content from a more business level. And just those simple fields in the clients that we've done something like this with, they really love it. They really love it because it helps them keep control of their information. So there you go. Thank you. Yeah. The so the when it needs to be updated field is not updated automatically at all. The last emailed field is updated automatically, but interestingly, uh, it's not updated through it's not updated through Expression Engine's object. It's updated directly in the database, because if you update it directly through the object, it treats it as if you've just updated that entry, and I don't want that entry to show that it's been updated. So I had to sort of do a workaround where I just updated in the database that happened. Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. It's so cool to see how different people.
Yeah.